Hi, I'm Jason Larch, and I recently gave a type of TED Talk at work, and I was asked to put it on YouTube, and because of the type of video, which you'll hear here, I immediately said, yes, I'll do that, and that's what I'm doing here. In order for you to get the most out of the talk, and the reason why I was selected to give a talk at work is I wanted to pick a topic that's personally meaningful to my audience. And the best way for you to, one, remember this, two, enjoy the process, and three, get the most out of it is if I could ask you to think of a dream right now, and as I go about explaining my personal stories, you'll be able to apply these skills so that it actually makes sense to your life. Now, when I say dream, is there something that you'd like to do one day or be one day? Would you like to make a business partner, have a fantastic relationship, go on a vacation, learn a skill? Just is there something you'd like to do one day or be one day, but you're not currently there? And make sure that this dream is specific and concrete. So think about your dream, and as I go throughout the talk, you'll want to just keep that in mind to really get a lot out of this talk, all right? Awesome. So my talk actually begins back in high school. I got really into karate, and one day our sensei, Mr. Brown, came and said a quote to us that really stuck with me and led to a lot of really cool stuff in life later on. But the quote was from a famous Japanese samurai warrior who wrote the Book of Five Rings, and it's, you should make your fighting stance your everyday stance. I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. And you should make your everyday stance your fighting stance. And I was like, whoa. And that's when it really stuck, because I had seen black belts, right? Make your fighting stance your everyday stance, your everyday stance your fighting stance. And this one in particular, when he would go to fight in spar, he'd be like, ready to spar? Yeah, he'd be like, you could see his neck bulging, his right? And then Mr. Schaefer is a fantastic human being, multiple time black belt. He'd won our world championship 3 times, and when he'd go to spar, it was literally like, hey, you want to spar? Yeah, let's go. No change. So I as a high schooler, I was like, oh, I got this. It's Mr. Schaefer makes his fighting stance, his everyday stance, and he really lives that credo in more ways than one. But it wasn't until after I got out of college that I was able to start applying this in a lot of cool ways and realizing that it's actually a metaphor for life, and it can apply in a lot of different areas. So as a college major, I was mechanical engineering. I was extremely interested in business. I took a business job out of school with General Electric in their commercial leadership program. And everybody in the program, it seemed like, wanted to become business executives one day. And I was kind of there too, but I had a specific goal in mind. So I had heard that the GE executives could manage businesses using numbers, and I was fascinated by that. I was like, oh, I'm really good at numbers. I want to learn this. But I had this problem. And the problem was I'm terrible at finance. I had no idea what an emergency fund was. I spent all my money the summer before on kitchen stuff and got there and I was like, what's a down payment on an apartment? And I was just really bad where I was beginning at finance. So I started working harder at it, talking to people, reading about it, and I got a little bit better, but it wasn't until I asked a specific question that I really made a breakthrough. And that was thinking back to make your fighting stance your everyday stance, make your everyday stance your fighting stance. And I came to this realization. I said, whoa, nobody's asking me to be a CFO for a Fortune 500 company because I'm 23 years old and I'm terrible at finance. But at the same time, nobody's stopping me from running my own personal finance like it's a business. So I set up balance sheets, income statements, cash flows, budgets, reviews. I said, I'm going to run this as full-hearted as I can. I'm going to make it my baby. It's my first business, is my house. And that way, when I have the opportunity and someone says, are you ready to come run my business? I'll say, yeah, I've been doing that for 20 years. Because I want to make my personal finance more like my business finance so that I can make my business finance more like my personal finance. And another way I was able to do this was with public speaking. I was a terrible public speaker. I grew up with a speech impediment for a long time, and I got to give a 1-minute speech at my high school valedictorian address, and they were so terrified I was going to do a bad job. They told me repeatedly for weeks that I was going to embarrass them and bought a special microphone the night before. They were that worried about a 1-minute speech. And so I got out of school. I knew I really liked public speaking. I wanted to get better at it, but I didn't have a lot of opportunities was my problem to public speak. And I also thought back to Mr. Brown's quote. I said, well, I have a lot of opportunities to speak, right? It's not every day I get the opportunity to come talk like this, but whether I'm talking to my family, my friends, somebody at the cashier checkout line, if I'm in a meeting or even talking to a CEO, how can I make my everyday voice more like my public speaking voice and my public speaking voice more like my everyday voice? So it just becomes, this is who I am and how I communicate, right? And those are some cool ways in which this quote was able to affect my life. But there's two secrets that I wanted to kind of put apart so that you can really take this to the next level and try to get big impacts in your life. The first one is around my main theme, which is I really believe anything you want to do and anything you want to be, you can do it now, you can be it now. So if you think back to your dreams, right, if you want to do this or be this one day, if you get down to the core gut emotion of it, you can actually start doing it and being it now. But the first key to that is you have to forget about the level of success, right? And what do you mean by that? Well, my dad's ran a basketball league for 35 years. I run a sports league on the weekends too. Nobody's asking us to play in the NBA, but nobody's stopping us from being basketball players. Just as nobody was asking me when I was 23 years old to be a CFO of a Fortune 500 company, but nobody was stopping me from running my personal finances like it's business. So the first key is forget about your level of success and just get started with where you are. Find that area of control, and you'll find when you start playing in that sandbox of just any success level, this is what I want to be doing every day, down at the core gut emotion of chasing your dreams, you're actually going to grow your influence, and you're going to attract more and more success to you. But the first step, forget about it, and just anytime you have a chance to go practice or get in that emotional state or as close to that feeling of that dream that you want to be, start doing it and look for more, and you'll find that more and more opportunities come. Okay, anything you want to do or be, I think you can do it now. You can be it now. Forget about the level of success. But the other key takeaway is you also might want to forget about yourself. And so what do I mean by forget about yourself, right? And for that, I'm going to tell a story. So after I got out of the training program, I moved into a different business at GE in Pittsburgh, and it was going through a very tough cycle. I had between 7 and 9 managers in a 2-year period, and I had this goal, which I'd started back in college. I said, I want to go learn business skills and get a night MBA, right? But everything at work, it felt like it was a half step forward and 10 steps back and 2 out the door. We were having problems with process. Things weren't moving smoothly. And then I really had a big problem. So right as the MBA was about to start in the fall semester, we went from having 3 inside contracts people working with 6 salespeople, so a 2-to-1 ratio, to having 90 salespeople for 2 of us. So my workload got increased 15 times over. We had the integration work, and I have a problem, right? At first, I had no idea how I was going to sleep. And second of all, I got really scared and motivated around, I wasn't sure if they were going to let me do the MBA if I wasn't getting my work done. So I doubled down, worked later, worked harder, tried to work smarter, and quickly came to a conclusion of just, I can't do this. These factors a lot of it's coming from Europe. It's dictated from the outside, and I don't know what I can do here. And then I asked 2 questions that I think you can ask on your dream too. So if you think to your dream, and that really helped me do a breakthrough and actually led me to working at the company that I'm currently working at, which I had no plan of doing. The first question was, so I just knew I couldn't do it, right? But I thought of our CEO at the time, Jeff Immelt, and I said, well, when he was my age, and if he was in my job, what would he be doing differently or seeing differently that I'm not doing or seeing today? I said, huh. And then I asked one more question. I said, well, Jeff Immelt now, as CEO with all of his expertise and connections and network, if he were stripped of his power and he took my job, what would that guy be doing differently that I'm not doing today? And it was just the strangest thing. A whole new world of possibilities opened up. I said, well, if we work with a supplier and this executive gets on board in that department, and I started working at a higher level in the business, we changed the process, built a custom IT solution, and for the DC quotes went from a 2 to 4 week cycle with a 99% reduction in time to one person could get it done in 15 minutes. And two really cool things happened out of that. One was I got to go get the night MBA, and the second one was I was promoted out of that business instead of me leaving it. All right, so if you think back to your dream, I would first ask, if I threw away the level of success, just where can I start? What's within my control that I can start doing now? And maybe I have to really get down to the core emotion that trying to chase in that dream. And the second one is think about, or actually go talk to in person, somebody who's already been there. And if you start saying, how could they do it in a way that I can't? It'll help you get over your limiting beliefs and your view of yourself, and you'll find whole new opportunities open up. All right, so that's really the main point of the talk, but the last piece is actually my favorite. And business aside, this can actually be used just to do cool and fun stuff. So my personal dream, as long as I could remember, was I love movies, and I said I would love to be in like a Hollywood movie. But I had a problem, right? And you might have this problem too. My problem was I think Steven Spielberg lost my number, right? And I was 25 years old. I looked myself in the mirror one day, and it just hit me, and I don't know how to explain it, but I said, you know what? I'm 25 years old, and I've never starred in a YouTube video. I said, and that's your fault. Right? So Hollywood isn't asking me to come be in a blockbuster. At the same time, they're not stopping me from making my own. So I researched how to write, how to direct, the lighting, the acting, pulled people together, wrote a script, and I've done over 20 different film projects. But the second one was probably my favorite. We did a movie called The Pirate of Pittsburgh, and in the script, I had just said, if I never come back down this road again, this is my bucket list project. I want to do one of everything. I want to throw the kitchen sink at it. So I want to yell. I want to scream. I want there to be a fight. I wanted to have like a strong female character. So I was thinking, do I give her a gun or a samurai sword? And I was like, obviously both. Right? There's fake blood and screaming and chases and music montages, and it was just a little bit of everything. And I was a terrible director, and it is not a good movie, but it's so near and dear to my heart, and it was, to me, just such a cool project of you can actually do your dream now. You can be your dream now. You just got to forget about that level of success. It's not a Hollywood movie, but I love it more than any Hollywood movie that I know. And there's something about this law of unintended consequences that comes up with this. And so coming out of this, I kept doing smaller and smaller. I found out that movies actually make for good project gifts, and I don't have time for the big projects. So Walter and Carrie, my friends, got married on my birthday, and I made them a video talking about, like, how did you fall in love? When did you first meet? So I gave them this full interview, and I cut it down just into the best bites, put music and transitions to it so that they could share it on Facebook. I said, hey, now you have 2 videos. You can share it with everybody, but you can also give it to your great-great-grandkids as a legacy to pass down. And it wasn't until 7 months later, Brian Walsh, a mutual friend of ours, came and said, like, that was the best gift he had ever seen. I said, oh, that's really cool. And I have an interest in business, so I actually turned that into an online business, which was active up until I joined my current employer. So there's just something around this law of unintended consequences when you start chasing your dreams. You say, hey, I can do this now, I can be this now, but I'm going to play in the area within my control. I'm going to forget about the level of success, and I'm going to try to forget about myself and in ways that I might be limiting myself, try to, put on somebody else's thinking cap, how you can step beyond it. You don't know what all opportunities are going to come to you. The program that we built at that job actually led me into my current position now. And that website, I never would have imagined coming had I not just been, actively chasing my passion, which was, making movies, telling stories, and trying to connect with friends. And once I put that all together, I was like, wow, this is really great. So if you could think back to your dream just before we finish up, what was your dream, and is there something that you can do today? Is there something you can do by this weekend to just start playing in it and just really enjoy it and try to enjoy the process of being it and doing it now, and just imagine where that might be able to take you. So that's my TEDx version of a DIY TED Talk, and with it, I really hope you the best in chasing your dreams. Thank you.